Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video I'll be taking you along on my yacht where I am being a host and yacht chef for 6 weeks in Croatia. So this boat is a 45-foot catamaran. We were on another one for the first 3 weeks and now we're on this one for the next 3 weeks, and my boyfriend is the skipper and I am the host, which means I am preparing breakfast and lunch every day, welcoming the guests, making sure they're having a great time, and also doing one dinner on board per week. The route we are doing either goes from Split down to Dubrovnik or from Dubrovnik back up to Split. So the route is slightly different. For the route that we do north to south, I'll do my dinner on the first night, which I prefer because it means that I'm not doing breakfast, lunch and dinner on the same day. But when we are going back up, I am doing it halfway through the week. And in this video, I'll be sharing what it's like to go from south, from Dubrovnik to Split. Because this is my final week. I'm quite sad not to be a host anymore because after 6 weeks, I feel like I've gotten used to it. I know my way around the boats. I'm used to my recipes and the cooking, etc. But yeah, I will be a guest experience leader with Med Sailors soon again. And who knows, maybe I'll get a chance to be a host again during the season if they need anyone. So here is what a week in the life of a host looks like in Croatia. Every charter starts with supplying the boat, so I need to get groceries for the first few days or as much as I can, and usually I'll get help from the skipper to carry everything back to the boat. The cleaning team will be making up the beds after we've taken off the linens from the week before. We've done the garbage from the week before, so we get to start with a clean boat. But then I have to go into all the separate cabins to check if they have toilet paper, put some bin bags in, write some welcome cards, and then I make my canapes, which are little appetizers for when the guests come on board. And then we are pretty much ready to welcome the guests on board for the rest of the week. Once the guests are on board, we do a welcome briefing, so we explain everything safety-wise, but also what to expect from the week. And once that is done, then we are setting sail to our first stop for the week. As we leave Dubrovnik Marina, I set up all the snacks that the guests have brought on board, and on our way south, we end the week with an epic drive-by along the walls of Dubrovnik, which we don't have time for when we start going north. We go straight to the Elafiti Islands. We have been making our first stop of the week going up from south to north, from Dubrovnik to Split, on the island of Šipan. We either go to the hotel in Sudra or we go to the cute little town of Šipan. We go to land in the dinghy to the beach bar and a few amazing restaurants where we have a dinner with the guests as the sun sets. Every morning I climb out of my little coffin and I go to the galley and start making coffees for everyone. So coffee first, and then I start preparing my breakfast, which is either eggs, crepes, French toast, or whatever, depending on whether or not I have fresh bread or I need to be making something with older bread or just crepes or anything. My first breakfast of the week is French toast, after which I do the cleanup and start prepping lunch. My first lunch is a couscous with honey halloumi and Mediterranean flavors. Meanwhile, we make our way to Mljet National Park. One of my favorite days of the week is when we come to Mljet National Park. We get to rent e-bikes and we go all around the lakes of the national park, go for a swim, go down the lazy river. The lakes of the national park are connected by small water passages that create some really fun and refreshing lazy rivers. Further along the crystal clear lakes is a monastery that you can take a ferry or boat to, and the views along the lakes are simply amazing. And in the evening we have a dinner at one of my favorite restaurants in all of Croatia, which is Antica. They have incredible seafood. I love the mixed fish platter. Their black risotto is incredible, and the lobster pasta, wow, just they even have this local traditional dish, which is the peka. It is cooked underneath the bell, or it was actually a Roman shield back in the day. It is very slow cooked, They have octopus, but we're trying the lamb tonight, which I'm very excited for as well. And it is just an incredible restaurant. So very excited to have my final dinner there. I also got to have my birthday dinner there, which was definitely a highlight of my birthday. Good morning. After an incredible peka in Antica, it is now the next morning. And I'm on my way to get some fresh bread so that we can get through breakfast and lunch. After picking up some fresh bread at the bakery, making coffee, and washing last night's glasses, I start preparing breakfast. Since we had British guests, I made them an English breakfast and then cleaned up after breakfast and started preparing my lunch on the way to Korcula. They get to have their lunch in a lovely bay before arriving at everyone's favorite stop of the week. As soon as we arrive in the picturesque old town of Korcula, the guests go off exploring while we take the bins out, clean the galley, freshen up the bathrooms, and then we head up the hill to shop for provisions. We get everything done as soon as possible so we can head into town and enjoy some downtime. The old town is stunning. You can climb the bell tower and do some good shopping, but when our guests would like to, we organize another tower climb where after an adventurous ascent, we have some delicious cocktails with one of the best views in town. Our other colleagues and us would then have our weekly pizza and yap at Tesoro right next to Massimo's bar. One week we happened to be front row for the summer carnival. It sure was unforgettable. The next morning I get up early to go to the fish market and the bakery to serve the guests some local pastries for breakfast, while we wait for all the boats ahead of us in the marina to leave. If we are stuck all morning, I start prepping my charcuterie board while we are still on the dock so that once we get going, they can have my masterpiece in front of the monastery near Korcula. Once lunch is finished, we head to the bay where we will spend the night on anchor and I prepare my dinner on board. The starter is baked feta, the main is fresh shrimp pasta, and tiramisu or pavlova for dessert. The next morning starts with coffee as always, and I make crepes, one of my favorite breakfasts. After breakfast, we set sail to Hvar. Here I help setting up the lines to shore as we will spend the night on anchor at the Pakleni Islands. I serve an Italian-inspired lunch, some pasta and a peach burrata salad before the guests head into town for the night. Alright, we have made it to the Pakleni Islands, and in the past 5 weeks I have not been to Hvar town. This week I am going, so I'm taking you along to Hvar, which is a bit unusual. Usually I've just spent my time on the boat. Let's go have a look. The water taxi into town is absolutely thrilling, and it's an experience in itself. Hvar is world famous for its nightlife, however, I did not get to experience that. I did, however, spend a lovely few hours grabbing a Hugo and hiking up to the fortress for the best view over the city and the islands where we spend the night. After walking back down, I made a quick visit to the butcher, the bakery, and the shop for some fresh provisions, and we headed back to the boat. Every day when the guests have left the boat, it is my turn to switch out the bins. So I take the full bins, put in an empty one, which I usually have a few more in the bottom of the bin so that I don't have to carry around the roll, and I basically just pull off the one that's full, put the new one, and then clean the toilet, give it a quick rinse, and that is it for every room every day. And in the evening, this is where I go. I let myself sink. Well, I kind of jump into this little hole, and this is just the bed. There is no AC, no fan, just a small window, and that is it. Barely enough space for my head, and I'm head to head with the guests behind this window. We got back from town, and now I'm going to put my bathing suit on after doing a round of the bathrooms. Every day I clean the bathrooms, or at least the toilets, and that is done now. Putting on my bikini and swimming over to our neighbors with a beer. We had some leftover tiramisu and beers with our colleagues next door, and then started preparing dinner for ourselves. The guests eat on land, so we usually have a relaxed night by ourselves. I wake up at 7, make coffee, and then I gave the Croatian farmer's eggs a go, which was delicious. I help releasing the lines from shore, and we set sail to a bay on the north of the island of Hvar. These are some of our favorite lunch spots. They are so incredibly stunning. I made some shrimp tacos for lunch and cleaned up before heading to Stari Grad for the final night. After helping to dock the boat, we take the trash out, and I had a shandy as I waited for the water to fill. Once all the chores are done, we head into town. Stari Grad is just as picturesque as Hvar and Korcula, but much more tranquil. Every week we go to the same bar in front of the palace to have a drink. We visited the palace once as well, where you can stroll around the gardens of poet Petar Hektorovic. When our guests are up for it, we then head to Hvar farm, a stunning countryside vineyard that is family run and surrounded by lavender and vineyards. We enjoy some local appetizers and a picka dinner, along with some amazing local wines served by a great host. Good morning from Stari Grad. It is almost 7 a.m. and I'm on my way to the bakery and the butcher shop. I usually get groceries the day before, but the bread and the meat I get super fresh in the morning. This took much longer than expected. Bells are ringing. I had to wait until the meat was minced, so it took a while, and the cevapi weren't ready yet, so I have to make my own with the minced meat. One last stop, which we could only make once, was the bay where Mojito Man works. He goes up to all the boats selling his very strong fresh mojitos. My final lunch is a Greek one before arriving back in Trojir, our end destination. This is another cute old town that we can explore after taking the bins out, take the linen off the beds, and get the boat ready for the cleaners to come on. We also need to get provisions for the next week. An hour from Trojir is Split. I got a chance to visit it the day before I started my assignment. It is a beautiful city with a historical city center full of Roman remains that are still in amazing condition today. Every day at midday, one of the last Roman emperors, Diocletian, addresses the people from his palace balcony. town is truly so pretty. And that is it. That is it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my upcoming videos. And then I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!